Hey, how you doing? I thought it would be a really interesting thing to do to make a video in defence of pulling guard. Now, you may be a little bit surprised that I'm doing this because my background is catch wrestling rather than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's very much a throw-based art. You start standing and you take your opponent to the ground, and if you've done it right, you then get that top position, you get to dominate, you get to win. Great, that's how it works. However, there's more to grappling than that, and the video I made recently on Walter Armstrong and his prejudices against Greco Roman wrestling raised some very interesting discussions in the comments section, and it kind of forced me to examine some of the prejudices that I, and clearly some of you guys, have about grappling, very specifically about pulling guard. And I realised that these are possibly not really very fair. So here are 5 reasons why pulling guard is actually okay. The first reason is just space. Now, we're not all lucky enough to train in massive, dedicated, matted halls with enough space for everybody to do everything they want. Where I train, you've got to be really very careful of what's going on around you. Even when you're literally on the ground grappling and moving around and you're rolling, you're going to bump into other people. And if you're maybe, say, trying to perform an arm roll to bring someone over to get that top position, or you're looking to come around to pass guard, or anything along those lines, you've got to be very aware that the other people around you on the floor are a potential hazard, and you can roll someone directly onto someone else. And that, I've done that. I've been dropped on top of other people grappling. There are punch bags hanging at the side of the road. There are tires. There's all sorts of things. Space is very limited. So starting from standing and moving around freely and performing throws might not be a great idea. The next reason that pulling guard can be okay is if you happen to be, well, not in peak physical shape, let's say. I'm 48. I've made a video recently about grappling as an older person. I've also got a fairly significant injury that's given me not quite a permanent disability, but certainly a limitation that I'm forced to work around. And that's something that I did to myself from standing, throwing an opponent. And it's made certain types of throw, well, impossible. So a lot of the stuff from standing is actually significantly more dangerous for me than it was before my injury. And I can't afford to be injured again, because if I do something similar to this leg, I'm going to end up having to have a knee replacement. It's going to take me out probably for good. And I'm not willing to let that happen. So if that means that I have to pull guard or start from kneeling or whatever it is, then that's what I'm going to do, because if that's all that's keeping me in the game, then that's a limitation that I'm happy to accept. One of the other things is that I'm much happier in that top position. You know, I've got great top pressure. I can maneuver my opponent around. Once I get them in, say, side control or a head and arm ride, kesugatami, then I'm good there. I'm happy. I can usually keep them there. I can punish them, and that gives me the opportunity to look for submissions. However, I need to be a more rounded grappler. I need to earn the right to be in that dominant top position. And if I come across somebody who's better than me, and sadly that's not a rare occurrence. There are a lot of people out there better than me. There are people out there that aren't as good as me, but are younger and fitter and stronger, and therefore I need to earn that right from them because they're going to smash me. So I need to be able to get from that bottom position to the top position. And to be perfectly honest, I'd rather not be smashed into bottom position and then have to fight out of it. I'd rather do that proactively. So that's something that I really need to keep doing, and I'm not alone. There are a lot of people that are very happy to fight from that top position, but aren't particularly good at getting there necessarily, and don't necessarily have the right to be in that top position. And that leads very nicely on to the next thing, which is weaknesses. I've been making videos about grappling and my personal journey for a long time, and clearly I have some fairly significant weaknesses in my game, putting aside the out of shape, putting aside the injury, putting aside the age. My whole grappling game is based around a form of catch wrestling that was effectively created and taught by people like Billy Robinson and Carl Gotch, that came out of Riley's gym. It's heavily influenced by Greco. It's got a lot of standing throws. And it's very much based around this top dominance. That didn't change when Wade Schellis came on board, because his whole ethos of wrestling is based around doing whatever you need to do to get that pin. And so my weakness is being on my back. And if that's my weakness, then that's what I need to be working on. So me being on my back is a good thing for my personal grappling journey. And the quickest, easiest, simplest way to get there so I can develop as a grappler is to pull guard. So I'm gonna. The other reason that I would suggest that pulling guard can be a good thing is it's always great if your opponent underestimates you. If they don't think of you as being somebody who's got a particularly impressive or effective top pressure game, then that gives you an opportunity to shine. And we know that there's a real there's a real prejudice against pulling guard. Just go read the comments of that other video. So, people will immediately think slightly less of you in a wrestling capacity if you pull guard. So, forcing your opponent to underestimate you when you're grappling is never a bad thing. And the last reason that I want to mention for pulling guard being a good thing is that the best way to actually understand a position is to work from it. So, if I'm in that top position, if I'm in somebody's guard, or I've managed to pass guard to get to side control, or I'm in mount or Kisakatami, whatever it is, to be most effective, I need to understand what they can do and what they're likely to do and how they're likely to react to what I'm doing. And the easiest way to learn that is to actually just do it. So I'm getting better at top position and the stuff I want to do by spending time doing the stuff that we kind of look down on, the stuff that I'm not very good at. And I think, let's be honest, one of the reasons that I look down on it, and I suspect I'm not alone, is because I'm not very good at it. It's not really part of my grappling kind of canon of technique and an approach, and therefore it mustn't be as good. So I'm spending a lot of time pulling guard, being in guard, trying to work from there. And if I'm being honest, I'm really enjoying it. So over to you. I mean, what do you think? Am I right to think that people actually look down on pulling guard? And if so, is it justified to look down, or is it not? Is it a silly thing to do? Have I missed any reasons for it? Are there other reasons that pulling guard is great? Let me know. What's your experience? And I'll see you soon.